watching The Breakdown with the Fight Analyst, Garrett Kerman.
And welcome back to another episode of The Breakdown. I'm your host, the Fight Analyst, Garrett Kerman. And with us is a very special guest, the UFC's featherweight contender, Mr. Billy Quarantillo. What's up, man? Thank you so much for coming on.
Not too much, brother. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. You're here to break down UFC 264. Great fight card on tap. The trilogy, Dustin Poirier taking on Conor McGregor. But before we get into that, I want to talk about your fight. You got a fight coming up next week against Gabriel Benitez. I want to know, how's it going? How's preparation for this fight coming up next week?
Yeah. I couldn't be happier with the training camp that I have. I had a great day today in particular. I got some good kickboxing, Muay Thai in, got a good strength and conditioning session in, did some sauna work. So, it's the end of the day. This is my last little gig I got to do for the rest of the day. And overall, it's just been a great training camp. My opponent has a lot of weapons coming to this fight. And I think me and my team do a really good job of breaking our opponents down. Anytime we've had a good amount of time to study our opponents and break them down, we usually do a really good job. And as long as I execute it, I feel like, we're going to go out there and get the win. And like I said, it's been a great training camp, and I'm just putting the final touches on it. And I just can't wait to go perform, because it's been, 7 months since I fought. So it's been a little bit of a time, and I'm excited to show what I've been working on in the meantime.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen you in there. You're, one of the most exciting fighters on the roster. Every single time you're in there, it's a barn burner. It's never a dull moment. Every moment that you're in there. I know you had, opponent change. Herbert Burns, was able, he fell out. But what did you take away from that? Like, what's your mindset going in? You're going in for Herbert Burns, and then he falls out, and now you got Gabriel Benitez. So what was your mindset when you got that call, knowing that he withdrew? Did you care who you got? It doesn't matter who you got. What was going through your mind at that time?
So the initial thought was, I got to look this guy up. I wasn't 100% familiar with him until I looked him up. And then I noticed, I kind of remembered who he was from that last Justin James fight. Then I looked, further along his career, and he's had, a long UFC career so far. He's fought in Sadiq Youssef. He's fought in Andre Fili. He was on the Ultimate Fighter, the Latin America version. So luckily we had enough time to prepare. We had a few weeks getting ready for Herbert Burns, working, the jiu-jitsu stuff, the grappling, and obviously the striking. And luckily we had enough time. We had, I think, 5 weeks to get ready for Benitez. And, it only took a couple weeks to really understand what he likes to do and to kind of set our game plan around what he likes to do, and kind of focus on what we like to do. And going into this fight, I have a lot of confidence. I'm a lot newer to the game than he is. I've only been in the UFC for, less than 2 years, and he's been in for, many years now. So he's got a lot of film out there. And I just can't wait to go fight. And we're super excited about this matchup now.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a crazy matchup, because you guys put on a crazy pace between the two of you. You guys just go in there and just go all out and bang it out. Do you expect that kind of fight going in? Are you expecting to see pretty much who's willing to dig deep to get this win?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was told we're going to be the first fight on the main card. It's my third fight on the main card in 5 fights. So it's I think we got that position for a reason. I think they know what I bring to the table. I think they know what he brings to the table. He's got a bunch of finishes. I got a bunch of finishes. He's, an exciting striker. I feel like I could do it everywhere. I've knocked some guys out. I've submitted some guys. So yeah, I think it's going to be one of those fights. I wouldn't bet the over on it. I think, we're going out there to take each other's heads off. And, at the end of the day, whatever it takes, I always talk about that. I just want to be known as an exciting fighter. I want, people like you and other hosts to say, Billy Q's an exciting fighter. We come to watch him fight. I don't want to miss that. And I want to keep that going. I unfortunately didn't have the best fight against Tucker. It was a good fight, but I didn't get the win. But, I think I've made the correct adjustments in my training for these past few months to go out there and get the win, on July 17th.
Yeah, and like you were talking about, this is, since it's a betting podcast. We were talking earlier. You opened as a favorite, and now you're setting in as an underdog, as a plus 176 underdog. What do you think about that going into this fight? I know you may not, look into the betting lines, but do you take that into account?
Yeah, no, I saw it. I saw it. So yeah, I noticed that. I think, I lost to Gavin Tucker. He's coming off a huge win over Justin James, but I think people are forgetting my overall resume. And also in the past few years, he's 1-2 in the past, 2.5 years. I'm 5-1 in that same time frame. So I think I've gotten a lot more done. And he also couldn't make weight his last fight. He missed weight by, I think, 4 or 5 pounds. Is that going to be a factor? He better make weight, this fight, or else I'll happily take his money, or we're not going to fight. I train every single day to make weight. I've never missed weight before. So I think a lot of people are going to lose some money because that makes me think, I start off as a favorite. Now I'm a pretty significant underdog, which means a lot of people are betting on my opponent. So, if I got to be the guy to take all their money and to let the house take that, that's going to be fine. I know a lot of my friends are getting in on that underdog money. And, it's one of those things that I don't think about the betting odds too much. And I know, I've gone into fights as the underdog and won. And the last fight I was the favorite and I lost. So Vegas only knows so much. And if they've seen how hard I was training for this fight, I think, they gave me the favorite status to start. And I think that was the right call to make.
Oh yeah. I know I'm betting on you, but that's, I don't know if I'm a little bit biased or not, but like, I know your skill set, like I said, I've been watching you since The Ultimate Fighter. I've known that you were UFC caliber, even though you didn't make it from then. I knew eventually you were going to get on into the big stage, and it showed. Your Contender Series fights, and then all the way up to, your last fight, even against Gavin Tucker. It was a tough fight. I know it's a tough loss, but that was a hard fight. And now you got another hard fight and get with Benitez, but I know it's something that you can really, overcome and, and push through it. I know you're one to have crazy cardio. Do you think you're going to be pushing this man's cardio to the brink of exhaustion into this fight?
Yeah, I've had a lot of fights where that was enough to win the fights, especially before the UFC. I felt I went into a lot of fights and I would just pressure, and I would wear people out and, take them out that way. I feel like with Tucker and with Benitez, it's not enough to just beat them on pressure. Of course I'm going to be pressuring both guys, and I was in their face and throwing strikes, but I also just got to be the smarter, more technical fighter. And I have to have that kill switch, which I didn't have against Tucker. I landed some good clean shots, but I didn't follow up on it enough. I didn't stop the takedowns when I needed to. And against Benitez, I'm not going into this fight just with the mentality of I'm going to break him with cardio, because maybe you don't break him with cardio. Maybe he does look like he has good conditioning, and I'm expecting that. I'm expecting him to be able to fight for 3 rounds. However, I know I have some weapons that I've really been fine tuning, and even if the cardio is not enough to push him to the breaking point, I know the combination of what I'm going to bring to the table is going to be enough to get the finish. So that's what I'm more motivated to finish him that way. Having a higher fighting IQ, being able to beat him in different aspects of the fight, and whether I beat him with the pressure or just land the right shot or the right submission, whatever it takes, I'm going in there to get my hand raised and get back on track.
I like it. As far as betting wise into this fight, we said you are underdog, but if we could get a prop on you, what would be the most specific prop that we can cash big on in this fight?
Oh man, it's crazy. I get people that like DM me all the time, like, "Oh man, are you going for the submission, or are you going for the knockout?" I wish it worked like that. I wish I could just snap my fingers and pick one, but I'm going to take what he gives me. I'm trying to knock him out on the feet. The second the bell rings, we're both going to be trying to knock each other out. We're both trying to land those hard shots. Whether I want to mix in takedowns, whether he's looking for takedowns and the grappling, it's going to be tough to say. But like I said, I don't see this fight going to the judges. I think we both have the ability to finish. So, I'm taking that Billy Q underdog money straight up. That's what I would go with as a better. But if I wasn't going with that, if I wasn't sure who was going to win, I would take a finish for sure. Because if you look at our history, he's got mostly all finishes. I got mostly all finishes. It would make sense that would be what would happen. So yeah, that's what I would have to go with, a big finish, and obviously that's what I'm looking for. I don't know if it's going to be a submission or knockout, but I'm not in there to go to a decision. I hate it when the judges get involved. It makes me uncomfortable. So I'm looking for what Billy Q, by whatever it gets done, is my betting favorite right there.
I like it. So inside the distance is your go-to, and I like that because I think we get some even better odds there. So but at the end of the day, where are you looking in the future? I know you don't want to look, past your opponent, but what's your your trajectory after this fight?
Yeah, like you said, I don't want to look too far ahead of him. The biggest thing for me is this is my 5th fight in the UFC Apex, and that's, oh man, it's just a lot of fights to have in like that little small, that small complex with no fans. So whatever happens after this, I'm hoping to fight at least once more this year, maybe October, November, December timeframe, whatever the case may be. I just hope getting a huge victory, a huge finish, huge knockout, performance of the night, submission of the night, whatever the case may be. An extra 50K would be nice. And then the next fight with fans, it doesn't really matter to me. I know I still got at least, 2-3 more fights before I'm getting into that top 5, top 10 range. So to me, I really just want to enjoy that, that UFC experience. We were in UFC when in Phoenix, when Israel and, Nate Diaz fought and all those guys. And just the atmosphere there, man, like I missed it so much. And it just reminded me like what I got into fighting for. And that's just being an entertainer and getting out there and the whole crowd going crazy. When Nate Diaz came out or when Brandon Moreno won the title, the crowd just went nuts. And like, it's just a different type of energy. So I love the Apex and I'm very comfortable there. This being my 5th fight there, I'm 3-1 there right now. And it's great. I love it there. I think it's an amazing facility. I would love to train there down the road, but I'm just hoping after this fight, the next fight could be in front of fans, sold out fans. I have a ton of friends and family that are just itching to fly out and come to one of my fights. So no matter what happens after getting this win, no matter who I fight, I hope it's with fans after that.
I like it. No, yeah. I mean, you definitely need some fans. I mean, like I said, your fights are just nonstop action. So, you would bring so much entertainment to any live event. So having you there, even if you win, even if you lose, it's just that exciting moment. And I definitely feel you there. You definitely should get on one of those pay-per-view cards, hopefully, towards the later part of the year. So with that said, you are here to help our viewers make some money at UFC 264. Great fight card on tap. So we're going to get into the betting aspect of this podcast. So let's start it off on the preliminary card, the early prelims. So our first fight up is in the middleweight division between Hugh Yaozong and Alan Amadovsky. Right now, Amadovsky is a minus 145 favorite, and the comeback on Yaozong is a plus 120 underdog. Who do you got in this one?
Okay, so for some of these fights, I don't really know too much about these guys. So for me, like for this fight, I probably wouldn't touch this one, not knowing enough about either guy, and especially with close odds. I've done that before where there's like big odds, but I didn't know too much about it. And I placed a bet. So for this fight, I probably would have to leave it to one of you guys, one of the experts. There's a few fights on here. I don't know a ton about the guys. And when I don't know enough about even one of the fighters, like if I know something about one guy, but not the other, I got to avoid it. So for this one, I just don't know enough about these guys for me to bet on it.
Yeah, Okay, I'm not betting on either one of these two. Okay, they both are, I believe, 0-2 in the UFC. They both haven't fought in years. Yao Zhang was a former heavyweight, then a former light heavyweight. Now he's making his middleweight debut. Hasn't fought in 3 years, losing to Cyril Asker and two guys that aren't in the UFC anymore. Then Alan Amadovsky lost to I forgot. I know he lost to John Phillips, gave John Phillips his only win in his UFC career in under 30 seconds. So that's never good.
Huh.
So, and then you look at Yao Zhang, he's about 5 inches taller. He's going to be huge there, but man, I don't know who the hell to pick in this fight.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. I'm not betting on this fight, but if I had to choose a winner, I'd probably go Almondowski. I think he's more seasoned. You're talking about a guy who's got twice as much experience. He looks better technically on the feet. But yeah, this is a very far past situation. I want really nothing to do with this fight at all. All right. So next up, we have a fight in the flyweight division between Zhalgas Zhumagulov and Jerome Rivera. Zhumagulov is a minus 350 favorite, and the comeback on Rivera is a plus 270 underdog. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, this is another one. These two fights are I'm looking at the card now. These two, and then there's one other one that I just don't know enough about them. And not that's not disrespectful to them. I'm sure there's a ton of fighters who have no idea who I am. And so this one, I mean, the odds are obviously there for one of the guys, not Rivera. There might be a chance for someone to make some money off that if they know more about it than me. But like I said, I got burned one time a long time ago where there was huge odds for someone. I put them in a parlay and they got smoked, and I was like, why did I even do that? So yeah, this one's this one, and then that the Trevin Giles fight. Those three are probably the ones that I don't know enough about them where I would have to avoid them. And like I said, obviously these guys know, no disrespect to them. I just don't, I train a lot. I don't follow every single
of
fight,
course.
but you guys might, there's some experts that know every single fight, but I have another job that is is fighting. So I don't know too much about this one.
No, you're good, man. I'm normally insta-fade Jerome Rivera after his Contender Series fight. I was very big of Rivera in coming into his Contender Series fight. And I thought he lost that fight, and I got extremely lucky, and he was a massive favorite. He didn't get signed. Then he got a short notice replacement fight, I think, and he's 0-3 in the UFC. He's not looked good. I think he's gotten knocked out in 2 of his 3 losses. He's a half a foot taller than Zhumagulov. Zhumagulov is actually not terrible. He's fought good competition and Fight Nights Global, in the Russian circuit. He beat Tyson Nam and a bunch of other, Ali Bagajanov, and he got robbed in his last fight as well. I think he's a better fighter, but at minus 350, that's way too steep of a price for me to pay on Zhumagulov. I think it's just a fight that I gotta have to pass on. I really want to take a shot on Rivera, but I need like plus 300, plus 400, plus 400. Yeah. So I'm passing on this fight, but if I'm picking a winner, I'd probably have to be Zhumagulov. And I'm not extremely confident in his abilities, being that he's half a foot shorter and he's given up 6-inch reach advantage as well. So that's pretty massive. All right. So next up, we have a fight in the middleweight division between Brad Tavares and Amari Akhmedov. Right now, Tavares is a minus 150 favorite, and the comeback on Akhmedov is a plus 125 underdog. Who do you got?
Okay. Yeah, for this one, I would have to go with Brad Tavares on this one. I just like his resume. He's fought obviously everyone. He's got some huge wins. That last fight he had, he looked good on the last time on the Abu Dhabi card. We actually got a chance to see him in Abu Dhabi. We were there for that. He looked good in that fight. He seems like he only loses against the top quality guys. I'm looking at his resume right now. He lost to Edmund Shabazian, who's, I think legit still. Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker are his last 3 losses. So to me, he's fought in the top echelon guys. His opponent, Amari, is also a stud. Coming off a big win as well, losing to Chris Weidman before that. I just think overall his resume, I think Brad Tavares being a little bit more veteran, slight favorite in this one. I don't know if I would touch it like in my parlay that I'm probably going to bet down on, but I probably would go with Tavares, who is a slight favorite in this one.
Yeah, I gotta have to ride with Tavares as well. I think he's actually really impressed me in his last fight. He defended
Mhm.
almost every takedown that
Yep.
Antonio Carlos Jr. Attempted. And you know how big and how strong Antonio Carlos Jr. is. And then in comes Amari Akhmadov. He's pretty much a bull. He just wants to go in there, take you down, grind you out. I don't think he has the cardio to go toe to toe with Tavares. I don't think he has the striking to go toe to toe with Tavares.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
I think Tavares' striking has gotten a lot crisper, a lot better. I think those calf kicks are going to be a problem. And I think him being able to keep this fight on the feet, it's his fight all day. He's got 79% takedown defense. I think he's going to look good in this fight. I think at minus 150, I think we're getting a really good line there too. I know Akhmadov is actually pretty good at cashing in as an underdog. I think he's 4-3 in his UFC time as an underdog, which is pretty good there. But he hasn't beaten the best of the best.
Yeah, the
His
top
last
guys.
yeah, his last loss was against Wyman, and both of them were completely gassed halfway through round two. So as long as Tavares makes him work and doesn't get stuck underneath him, I think he should run away with this fight. And at minus 150, I think we're getting a really good line.
I agree.
All right. Next up, we have a fight in the women's flyweight division between Jennifer Maia and Jessica Ai. Right now, Maia is a minus 190 favorite, and they come back on Ai as a plus 160 underdog. Who do you got?
Yep. I think Jennifer Maia, I think, takes this one. Her last fight going to a decision against the champ, Valentina Shevchenko, which is no easy task. And just overall, her record beating Calderwell, beating Roxanne, beating Alexis Davis, fighting obviously the best of the best, which Jessica Ai has too. But I just think she's going to be a little too much for her overall game. I just think she's a little bit better everywhere, and I think she gets it done.
Yeah, I think the same. I'm not great on the line at minus 190, but I think she's overall better fighter. She's faced top notch competition. She gave tooth and nail to Valentina better than anybody that's ever in the entire flyweight division. So that's and then I think she's at least won a round or two against her in that fight.
I do remember the thinking at the time it was pretty close. Towards the end, I think Valentina, took off. But I do agree. I do remember watching that and thinking, I'm like, man, this girl's, taking her down, holding her down, and doing that. And if she can do that to Valentina, she can probably do that against Jessica Ai.
Yeah, I agree too. And she's the better jiu-jitsu practitioner as well. She could probably get a sub if she gets her down, gets her in top, top control. So yeah, I'm riding with Jennifer Maia here as well. And I think she could get the win here. All right, let's go. All right. Next up is the Trevin Giles fight. In the middleweight division, we have a fight between Trevin Giles and Dricus Du Plessis. Right now, Duplessis is a minus 120 favorite, and Giles is a plus 100 underdog. So I'll just take this one over. As far as this fight goes, this is a tough one. It's close for a reason. Giles actually, he's been pretty decent in his time. He's, made some mishaps in his two losses. He just, he got clipped in one, and then he decided to grapple with Mearshot in another, which was mind-boggling in itself. And then Duplessis, he looked good. Obviously, he got the win, but he was getting tagged a little bit too much in the early portion of the fight. Man, it's a tough one. I think Giles does have what it takes to pull this out, but I think the athleticism of Duplessis, and I think the volume of Duplessis will give Giles a ton of trouble, because Giles is a single shot striker. He throws a lot of jab straights, and it's kind of slow on the feet. And you give him against somebody that just throws volume, I think they can pretty much beat him as long as they don't get caught. So I'm going to go with Duplessis here, minus 120. Not extremely confident, but I think he could get it done. All right, this is a fight that I'm really looking forward to. I think a lot of people are as well. A fight in the featherweight division between Ilia Topuria and Ryan Hall. Right now, Topuria is a minus 250 favorite, and the comeback on Ryan Hall is a plus 195 underdog. Who do you got in this one?
So I'm going to have to go with my guy, Ryan Hall. I'm going to have to take the underdog in this one. I saw an interview with his opponent, Iliad. I can't really say his name right, but I know he's a stud. He's young, and I think he's a little overconfident. I don't know if it's a real overconfidence or he's just kind of saying stuff just to say it. And this is his first time he's I'm seeing his interviews where he's making a lot of waves. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on Ryan Hall. He's not as active. But he's also had a lot of opponents pull out on him. I think this is the first time he pulled out was his last fight. So I just think that Ryan Hall has fought the better quality opponents. He trains with some savages. He's got Kenny Florian in his corner, who's just an encyclopedia of MMA. Worked with Firas Zahabi, and just his mindset. I lived with him in the Ultimate Fighter house for 6 weeks. One of my favorite things to do is to pick his brain. He loved to stay up late, and I would chat with him all the time. And I think Ryan Hall is one of the smartest guys that you're going to meet in MMA. And I think, like I said, I think his opponent's a little overconfident, and I think that's what's going to get him in trouble. And he's basically saying he's not afraid to go to the ground with him. He's not afraid to strike with him. And I think Ryan's smart enough to find a way to get it done and to get the win and probably the finish too.
Yeah, I listened to that and I read all that as well. And that's what's kind of like me shying away from, putting a play on Poirier here, because you can't be too confident. Okay. Especially against somebody as good as Ryan Hall is on the mat. That's like playing with fire. Don't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to play jiu-jitsu with one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters in the entire UFC. I don't want to hear that from a guy that knows he can win the fight standing. I just don't want to hear it. It makes me shy away from betting him minus 250. I definitely don't want to take him at that price either. I think, and the thing is, it's hard to fight Ryan Hall. I mean, he's got, it's just, he's so awkward. His striking is hard to get a read on. His kicks are really good. They've gotten a lot better. I know he's been working a lot with Wonder Boy too. So I know throughout the years, his kicks got even better than they were the last time we saw them. And then you got, the jiu-jitsu and the Eminari rolls, the 50-50 positions, all that type of stuff that you have to worry about. It's just a puzzle piece that I don't know if Poirier is going to be able to solve. So, getting Ryan Hall plus 190 is a pretty good play there. I like Ryan Hall because he just does this to people. He just makes them afraid of him. He makes them not really, engage with him. And him by decision at almost plus 500, I think it's plus 450, is just ridiculous.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. And like I said, his opponent, I watched him in his last fight, and the guy was just standing and trading with him. And it seems like a lot of guys are doing that. And I know he's got some submissions too, but I just feel like if he's over aggressive with Ryan, Ryan's going to find a way to get in on his legs or to land a hook kick or to land something big. And like you were saying, we haven't seen Ryan in a long time. And it's not like he wasn't training. He's getting better and better and better. And he's one of those guys that every time you see him, he gets better. And I think you're going to see the best Ryan Hall. He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I was actually was going to get some training in with him, but our plans kind of fell through. But I'm obviously rooting for him, and I think he gets it done.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we're getting a good line on him plus 190. I'm actually going to ride with you here too as well. You kind of made me see the lights on Ryan Hall. Yeah, I like it. All right, next up, we have the featured bout on the prelims in the welterweight division between Nico Price and Michel Pereira. Pereira is minus 155 favorite, and the comeback on Price is a plus 130 underdog. Who do you got?
Oh man, so betting wise, I'd probably stay away from this fight just because both guys are so unorthodox. I don't want to bet against my guy Nico Price. I've met him a few times. Super cool guy from Florida, and with fights like this, they're both so unorthodox. Nico Price gets all these crazy knockouts, does it from wherever. Pereira, or however you say his name. Sorry if I butchered that.
No, you're good.
Yeah, he's jumping off the cage. He's doing backflips. I saw him that one fight where he gassed out and then lost a fight that he looked like he could have won. I think he's gotten smarter since then. But man, Nico Price is a very tough dude. He's fought some of the best guys in the world. I would stay away from this one. If I had, gun to my head, I guess I would go Nico Price with that underdog money. But again, I hate fights like this where it's just so unpredictable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you with that as well. It's a really tough fight to call because, like you said, they're very unorthodox. They both got power to end the night. And you don't know what you're going to get from either one of them. You really don't. Anything can really happen. And I'm a fan of Nico Price as well. I've met him too. He's arguably one of the nicest, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's super cool. Plus 130 is not a bad price on him. We've seen Pereira. He's gassed before. We've seen him do stupid stuff. His fight IQ is definitely not the best. And I think Price, he can mix in some takedowns. He's got the power, and he's been around the block. He's faced great competition. I'm gonna roll with Price here as well, plus 130. So yeah, I'll go with him as well. Our next fight is the featured bout on the prelims, and that is a fight in the welterweight division between Max Griffin and Carlos Condit. Right now, Griffin's a minus 200 favorite, and the comeback on Condit's a plus 165 underdog. Who do you got?
Yeah. So for this one, this is another one where I would just avoid, and the reason why is because I'm a huge fan of Carlos Condit. I grew up watching him. I'm a huge fan of Brandon Gibson, who's his coach. I got a chance to work with him on The Ultimate Fighter, and I just love. There's a scene from, if you want to check it out, I watch it almost before every fight. It was one of those 24/7s with Carlos Condit and George St. Pierre. And it's like the closing scene of it. And oh man, it's just such a cool scene. Like, I don't know who made it, but it could have won like an Academy Award. And it was just really cool. And I just love that fight with George St. Pierre. But with that being said, I think Max Griffin probably gets it done. He's just younger, fresher. He's very explosive striker. He's got a lot of weapons. Condit is, unfortunate, a fighter, something that all fighters deal with is trying to battle back from, getting older. He's just not the same fighter that he used to be, and we're all going to face that eventually. And I think right now Max Griffin entering his prime, I would say he probably gets it done. But like I said, I could never bet against Carlos Condit. I grew up watching him, the Natural Born Killer. I'm a huge fan of his, so I would avoid it. But at the end of the day, I think Max probably gets it done.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Carlos Condit forever as well. I was rooting for him against Damian Maia, and I was super upset when we got that L, back in the day. But he's been around the block. I know he's rattled off 2 wins, but they were against guys that Court McGee and Matt Brown. They're on the end of their career. Max Griffin has actually looked the best he's ever been in his last 2 wins. Against younger competition, not against somebody like Carlos Condit, who's actually towards the end of his career. His striking has looked crisp. Working at MMA Gold with Jim West and everybody over there, he just looked really good, and his confidence is at an all-time high. He knows he's capable of getting it done, and I think the sky's the limit for him, and I think he's going to keep rolling here. Minus 200 is a little steep of a price, but I think it's a decent parlayable piece at minus 200. I think he's got the tools. As long as he's smart, mixes it up. I would hope he goes for some takedowns, because we know Carlos Condit doesn't defend takedowns well. That's my only drawback about just going crazy on Griffin here, because he's going in there thinking he's just going to go in there and just headhunt and take Carlos Condit out.
He could get caught,
Yeah, and I don't want to see that happen, because he could take an elbow from Condit and get put away. And I've seen it happen. Griffin's been knocked out before, so I want him to mix it up. I want to see him take him down, and I just want to see the all around Max Griffin. So I have him winning. Not super confident, but I think he gets it done here.
I agree.
All right, next up is our first fight on the main card in the bantamweight division between Sean O'Malley and this black guy over here, Chris Moutinho. This shadow of Chris Moutinho, the UFC debuter on short notice, 10 days notice. Chris Moutinho, after Louis Smolka had to pull out. Right now, Sean O'Malley is a minus 900 favorite, and the comeback on Moutinho is a plus 600 underdog. Who do you got?
I betting wise, I hate fights like this to bet on. I don't know enough about his opponent, and especially with those high of numbers, I just feel like, betting on the favorite, there's really no reward to it. You're going to have to bet a lot of money. And then if you lose, anything can happen in a fist fight,
right?
Especially when I'm sure this dude's going to be whipping calf kicks and low kicks at him just to, why not? And I heard he gets trained by the New England Cartel boys. I'm pretty sure. So, you don't want to bet. I just don't like betting on fights like this personally, but I will be watching as a fan. Sean O'Malley's an exciting fighter to watch. His last fight, he looked so fast, so sharp. I'm excited to watch him fight against, the Cody Garbrandts and the Rob Fonts and those type of guys down the, hopefully next fight, he fights someone in the, in the top 10, top 15. But yeah, I think Sean O'Malley gets it done. I wouldn't touch this fight unless it was a part of a parlay, or if it was a prop bet, like maybe, second round knockout or something like that. But I haven't done enough research on his opponent. I've been, in training camp, so I would avoid this fight. But yeah, I think Sean gets it done. Probably something crazy. He's gonna be whipping stuff at him, and yeah, I would say O'Malley, but I wouldn't touch this one.
Yeah, definitely not laying any type of juice at -900. That's absolutely absurd. Yeah. Chris Moutinho, I've watched him fight numerous times. He's not a terrible fighter, but he's a pressure fighter. He's coming forward. Thing is, he doesn't move his head a lot, like at all. So that's going to be a problem. I think he's going to get tagged a ton early on in that fight. I wouldn't be surprised if we see O'Malley come away with a first minute or second minute knockout in the first round. I think it's going to show that there's levels to this. I think it's a little bit too soon for Moutinho as well. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want him to show that I am wrong. Because I think he's a good fighter. I think he deserves to be there at some point. But I think O'Malley just kind of runs through it in the first round. If the odds are there, I think if it's plus money, I would take Sean O'Malley by first round knockout. But I don't think the odds are out for it just yet. But that's literally it. You can't do anything else.
Like a prop bet or something like that. And I might throw money on that, but I wouldn't touch it straight up.
Right? No, there's no point. All right. Next up, we have a fight in the women's bantamweight division between Irene Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya. Right now, Aldana is a -120 favorite, and the comeback on Kunitskaya is a +100 underdog. Who do you got?
I would probably have to go with Irene on this one, just on the fact that I think she's a little more dangerous on the feet. Her losses, Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington, with a couple big wins in between. I think she's a little bit better striker, and I don't know a ton about either girl. I've seen a couple of both their fights. I believe her opponent's married to Thiago Santos. I could be wrong about that, but I think I've seen them together before. And I've seen bits. I know she's coming off a couple wins in a row now, but I just think Irene, a little bit sharper striker. She's had a little bit tougher fights, and I think she, obviously close odds, but I think she gets it done. Yeah,
I'm actually not like really confident, but I'm confident enough that Aldana gets this win here. I think she's a much better striker. You look at Kunitskaya, her last win, was against Ketlin Vieira, but all of her strikes landed were when Ketlin had her back on the mat. I bet on Yana in that fight. I don't know if I got lucky. Maybe I got lucky. It was like a +200 something live betting line there. But, she was controlled for almost 10 minutes of that fight and somehow won. It was odd, but, Yana is a Muay Thai striker by trade. And I think Aldana has, she has better striking, much more volume. I mean, she's landing 5.52 strikes per minute. And she's throwing upwards of like 12 per minute. So she's got crazy output. And as long as she doesn't get held against the cage by Yana, Yana just does her clinch work with her knees and her elbows against the cage. As long as that doesn't happen, she should run away with this fight, especially in a 30-foot octagon. She should be able to keep the distance, throw the jab out there, throw her kicks, and just keep it moving. And she doesn't get hit a ton. 61% of her strikes are defended. So I'm going to go with her here. -120. I think we're getting really good odds as well.
We're to play with that one. There you go.
I think it's good. We're getting close odds on that one. All right. And we're up with the big boys in the heavyweight division in a fight between Tai Tuivasa and Greg Hardy. Tuivasa is a -135 favorite, and a comeback on Hardy is a +110 underdog. Who do you got in this one? I'm
going to have to go with Tai Tuivasa on this one, or Tuivasa, him and the shoey. I think he gets it done. He's gotten some big wins over some high-level guys. I just think overall, he's more dynamic with the striking. Hardy obviously is a freak of nature, just so powerful. and he's doing an incredible job, moving up the rankings. I never would have thought, when he made his debut, a couple of years ago, I never would have thought he would have got to this level this fast. So hats off to him. I just think it's a little too much for him. I know a lot of people on Twitter were saying Hardy's going to get the knockout. I'm going to go against that. I'm going to go with Ty on this one. I think just with his experience against higher level fighters, him being able to deal with what Hardy's going to bring to the table, which is just some raw power. I think he gets it done. Close odds on that one, but yeah, I think he's just a better overall fighter.
Yeah, I agree there as well. I mean, like you said, faced a far better competition. Other than Volkov, he's faced better competition. He's beaten better competition. I think he's the quicker of the two. I know Hardy's more athletic, but I think even Tuivasa is actually the quicker of the two. I think he's got more tools. I think that calf kick is going to play major dividends in this fight as well. I think he can even mix in some takedowns because he's training over at AKA. So I know he's been working on his takedowns. If he's able to get Hardy down, Hardy's not getting back up. Let's just put it point blank. He's not getting back up. And I think Tuivasa is just going to be able to put a pace and put a pressure on him and make Hardy work. And, Hardy's gas tank is pretty much next to none. I mean, his cardio is not good. We've seen it. He looked great in his last fight against Tybura in that first round. And somehow, some way, he just gassed out after that first round of just straight up striking. So we'll see what happens, but I think Tuivasa gets another win here, be 3 in a row, and then he's slowly climbing up the rankings again.
Yep, I agree.
All right, next up, we are in our co-main event of the evening in the welterweight division between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Gilbert Burns. Right now, Thompson's a -175 favorite, and the comeback on Burns is a +145 underdog. Who do you got?
So I was hoping to be tag team partners with Wonder Boy. I thought we were gonna fight the Burns brothers back-to-back weeks. That didn't happen. My Burns is out. I am a little surprised with the odds. I do like Wonder Boy in this fight. I'm just a huge fan of Wonder Boy, and I think his striking is super dynamic. I don't necessarily like the odds though. I thought it would be a little closer. I thought it'd be closer to even, especially because outside of the Usman fight, I think Gilbert Burns has looked really, really good. And having that loss, he obviously, both guys are at a really good gym. I think this loss for Gilbert Burns, he's going to have a big chip on his shoulder. But I still like Wonder Boy with the striking. He's obviously fought high-level grapplers before, and he's been able to do really well against them. But yeah, I like Wonder Boy, but I don't love the odds on this fight. Maybe put it with a parlay or something like that. But yeah, I'm just a huge fan of Wonder Boy, and I do think his striking so dynamic, and he doesn't look like he's, I know he's getting a little bit older, but in my opinion, it doesn't look like he's slowing down like some other fighters are. So I would take Wonder Boy. Like I said, I don't love the odds on it, but yeah, I would go with him.
Yeah, I'm a very big Burns fan. He's arguably one of my favorite fighters, in the UFC. And it sucks to go against him here, but I am fairly confident in Wonder Boy getting the win here. I think this is a really bad match for Burns. I know Burns is, he got Raymond Daniels to come and kind of mimic the striking. But I've also heard that a lot of people have done the same thing and actually lost with Raymond Daniels trying to get some work in there. I know they're two flashy strikers, but they're kind of completely different in different spectrums of striking. But when it comes to Burns, I just don't think he's going to want to stand there and strike with Wonder Boy. I don't think he's going to be able to contest with Wonder Boy. I don't think the calf kicks are going to do as well as they would against other people, because Wonder Boy is used to those calf kicks. He conditions his calf kicks, his calves all the time. So I don't think that's going to be a thing. He's going to have to take this fight to the mat. Wonder Boy hasn't been taken down since Tyron Woodley in their last title fight. He's only been taken down by two fighters in his entire UFC career. He's got a 78 takedown defense as well. He's outlanding his opponents by a 1.44 strikes to 1 ratio, which is insane. I just think, at the end of the day, if Burns doesn't get this fight to the mat, Wonder Boy's going to run away with this fight all day. So I got to go Wonder Boy here, and it pains me to say it because I'm a huge Burns fan, but I think I'm going to be betting hefty on Wonderboy, this weekend.
I like it. I like it.
All right. We're up to our main event, the trilogy, the fight between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. Right now, Poirier is on minus 120 favorite, which is crazy because he was such a massive underdog in their last fight. And the comeback on Conor McGregor is a plus 100 underdog. That is insane because of the fact that I think Conor hasn't been an underdog in years. Other than Khabib, he hasn't been an underdog in quite some time. So he got in this one.
Yeah, I think I think you nailed it. I think that's the first time he's been an underdog. And I actually expected, because Conor's got so much worldwide fandom. I'm surprised that they haven't bumped those numbers through the roof, which tells me there's a lot of people that either are putting big chunks down on Poirier or just a lot of people are confident that getting that last win is going to carry over. I am going to go with Dustin Poirier on this one. We got a chance to meet both guys last fight because we were in Abu Dhabi with the Matt Frevola fight. So we got to meet both guys. I love how down to earth Dustin Poirier was. We met Conor McGregor at the pool, and he had like security around him. It was like real uptight. His coaches are really cool. Conor's coaches are super cool. They actually remembered me from The Ultimate Fighter. Shout out to Owen Rowdy. That dude's the man. Him and his wrestling coach Sergeoff. They're both super cool. They were super nice and approachable. But yeah, Conor McGregor showed up on a yacht and I think like a Bentley, and Dustin Poirier flew in with the rest of the fighters. After the fight was over, Dustin flew back with everyone. We got to talk to him and Matt Brown and all those guys. I love that about him, that he's just your everyday fighter and he still acts like it. I did rewatch their last fight. I think Poirier did a real good job. He got the takedown. That first round, I remember thinking it when I was watching it that Conor was picking him apart, but most of the fight was, up against the cage. And I think that was a really smart play by Poirier to wear him out. I could definitely see Conor keeping it striking and, out striking him and getting the finish in the first round. But I think overall as a fighter, if Poirier is able to do anything to slow down that explosiveness in the first round, and he's able to take the fight even to the later second, third round, I think Poirier just overall, his striking looks really sharp right now. McGregor coming off of that loss, neither guy fought anyone else in between. I don't love to bet on this one. The fights are super close. I'm probably going to parlay some other fights and leave this one just to watch because McGregor's so explosive and either guy is able to get that first round knockout. But I think overall Poirier is just laser focused right now, and I think he gets it done. But it's a tough fight to call, and I think that's what makes it so exciting. And I'm going to be watching it as a fan.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be touching this fight either.
Yeah.
It's so hard because we really don't know what we get for Conor. We know he always changes as each fight progresses, especially in the rematch. He always looks completely different. There's no way he's going to be as flat-footed as he was in the first fight. In this fight, he's going to check leg kicks. So I don't think Poirier is going to go to the leg kicks. He's going to maybe fake some of the leg kicks and go upstairs, maybe throw some high kicks. We don't know. It's just so many intangibles that we really don't know what's going to happen to this fight. They're going into this fight. I think we're going to see completely different game plans from both of them. Maybe Poirier goes for more takedowns. He knows he can get takedowns. Maybe he goes in there, goes more a little grapple heavy, takes some of the wind out of Conor. And because we know after the round 2, Conor is just, his cardio is just like next to nothing after that. And Poirier can go 25 minutes. We've seen it, and it takes a hell of a lot to take Poirier out. We've Gaethje couldn't do it. Everybody else, it's extremely hard. I think Poirier's at the top of his game. I think he's on his way to being the champion after this win. I think he's going to go in there and he's going to take the belt against Charles Oliveira. And he knew this is the right way to do it. He knew he wanted to get this, he get this win. He wanted to get his money first and then go for the belt. So, I give him kudos for that. It's going to be a tough fight for both of them. I'm super looking forward to it. I just can't really pinpoint who's going to win, but I think Poirier comes out victorious in this one. I don't like the odds on minus 120. It sucks that we're not getting plus money on Poirier. But man, Conor McGregor at plus 100 is so like right there. It's like I want to, but I just don't think he can. I don't think he could do it. I think Poirier is also gonna be the much bigger fighter in there. You're talking about a guy that's gonna be upwards of 180-ish probably. And Conor doesn't add almost 30 pounds after the weigh-in. So I'm gonna go with Poirier here. I think he wins, and I think he gets his title shot against Oliveira, and I think he becomes the undisputed, lightweight champion. And then I think we finally get to see Gaethje against Poirier again at some point. I think those two need to battle it back again, because I think Gaethje has progressed a lot since their last fight, and I think it's going to be even better a second time.
An even more insane fight. Yeah, Gaethje's always I feel like he just always finds himself in like that weird position where everyone gets dance partners, and he's just always left on the sidelines. And he's obviously one of the most exciting fighters in the world. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. But yeah, I can't wait, man. I was going to try to go to the fight, but I think it would have been a little too many distractions, because my fight's at the Apex. Right. But I'm happy that I'm flying out on Tuesday, like a normal fight week, and I'm going to be watching in Tampa as a fan, and I just can't wait for this weekend.
No, man, it's going to be great. I'm super looking forward to this week. I'm also super looking forward to your fight next week against Gabriel Benitez. That's on Saturday, July 17th. I appreciate you coming on here and breaking down this fight card with us. But before we go, if you want, the floor is yours. You can, shout out any sponsors, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media. Yeah, so it's all yours.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Dude, thank you for having me, man. Like I said, I know a lot of people hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, and I try to talk to and do as much as I can. Just follow me there, Billy Q MMA, at Billy Q MMA on Twitter and Instagram. I use those two the most, especially talking to fans. I love talking to people on Twitter. There's so many funny personalities. And July 17th, I can't wait, man. I'm going to make my mark and keep climbing up the ladder and get to these big fights that I've been dreaming of, these big Poirier, McGregor's, these Israel Adesanya fights, like those type of high level fights. And I just can't wait for it. I've been dreaming of it for years, and I know I work hard, and I know I'm going to earn that spot eventually.
Absolutely, man. You know it's going to happen, and we know it's going to happen. We're all rooting for you. We're going to be betting on you as well. So with that said, we will see you all cashing out at the ticket window. Until next time, you guys have a great night. Adios.